Education and entertainment. Wake up, GI, with Jeffrey Smith. Brought to you by the Geary Community Schools Corporation.
All right, everybody, we are back. We're at the top of the hour right now, to be honest with you, on a beautiful Monday. It is the 7th of February, 2022, and this is Wake Up GI with Jeffrey Smith. And of course, as promised, we are joined by a very interesting woman. I'm glad she's taken time out of her busy day to drop by. And I'm talking about Dr. Dorothy Frink. She is the enrollment director of enrollment, or enrollment manager.
Associate Vice Chancellor.
Oh, there you go. Look at you. Correction for the Indiana University. So we're going to find out about a lot of great things that are going on at the university during the month of February, and then possibly even further on. But I'm just so happy to have Dr. Frink in studio with us this morning. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Now, I've got repeat your title once again, because
Sure.
Sometimes I get a little confused.
That's okay. I'm the Associate Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management.
Now, what does that entail? That's pretty interesting.
Yes. So my job is to provide direct oversight for the admissions office and then functional oversight for the registrar and
Right.
financial aid office.
Oh, so you're kind of over the whole thing. You kind of make sure that you've got the tentacles, that they're going to places that they need to go, and then you kind of sit back and say, all right, I like it. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, right. This is what we're doing. And I provide some strategy for all of the offices to make sure that students are enrolled. Our team, the team of admissions counselors, which sometimes I like to call them college navigators.
Yes.
Because we don't just talk about IU Northwest, we talk about where do you want to go, what's the best fit for you, because sometimes maybe the regional campus isn't where you want to be and where you want to go.
Oh, see,
So,
you see, now you just hit me where I live. You just inspired me, because I want to kind of go down that road with you before our conversation ends today, because I'm so happy to hear you say that, and I think there's so many opportunities for you to get that out there, because as every morning we kind of talk a little bit of, when I talk about the Career Center, who's a sponsor, and we're in the building, and I talk about the opportunities that young scholars have to go there and get some vocational training. And I was talking with somebody last week, and one of the conversations that we were having was that it doesn't appear that some of these students, because I've had the opportunity to talk to some, actually have somebody in their ear navigating. Some of us are fortunate to have parents who kind of, like I remember coming home and I started, my applications were already filled out. I didn't even know I was applied to college until the letters started coming in. Yeah. And then we had some very strong guidance counselors. But now there are some young people that find themselves lost in the shuffle. And it's not that they don't want to do anything, they just don't know how to go about doing it. And when you think about applying to college, when you think about applying for financial aid, those seem like some very tall tasks if you're just, if you don't know anything about it.
Right, exactly. And so what our team does, and what I try to make sure our team instills in students, is how do you start the process? Yeah. And we are out at every college fair. We visit all of the schools, and most of the schools in Northwest Indiana, include Lake County and Frink County for sure. And when we go into these schools, we're talking about IU Northwest definitely, but also in telling them about an Ivy Tech option, or maybe it's military that they want to do, but at least letting them know those options. And then a lot of times parents will just call and say, hey, I have no idea what to do with my kid. Like, how do I get this started? And I'm really proud of the team at IU Northwest, because we take it step by step to let students know how to enroll in college. What is the process? Do you need an essay? Do you not need an essay? Yeah. We're also trying to make sure that students understand that college can be affordable.
Absolutely.
And so we talk a lot about scholarship. At IU Northwest, we have millions of scholarship dollars. And one of those scholarship dollars that we give to students is not based on SAT. For a long time, as you know, students would have to take an SAT score, almost like a perfect score, to get any type of scholarship. Yeah. But what we've done is we've looked at what are the students doing day by day that they can earn scholarship dollars for. So we will give micro scholarships. Yeah. Micro scholarships for attending a college fair, micro scholarships for visiting our campus, for filling out the FAFSA, micro scholarships for working, micro scholarships for being in dual credit or concurrent enrollment. And so all of that can add up to $2,000 just for us. Yeah. And so we give that in addition to their merit scholarship. And I think a lot of students don't understand that just a little bit of work and a little effort, you can actually earn up to your tuition to go to college. And so that's what our team takes the time to do too.
Yeah, we're talking with Dr. Dorothy Frink from Indiana University Northwest. See, I didn't even know anything like that when I was going to college, but this is a lot of great information to have. You know, you were talking about the college fairs and things like that, and while I've got you here, since you're the woman in charge or the one to ask, I would assume, you know, when you look at universities tend to have a little feel about themselves. They like you know, when I look at Stanford, I think about engineering and things of that nature. And you know, I look at Purdue, I think about engineering. I was a veterinary medicine major when I was in college, so I'm familiar with that aspect, and agriculture when it comes to Purdue. And then obviously we've got, I mean, you know, Indiana University, I look at that as a business, medical, law school type of thing in the big picture. And so when you bring it down to the satellite campuses, and you see have Purdue Northwest over there, as you said, you have your Ivy Techs. What is IUN? I've always wondered, because I always get the feel sometimes it's an education type of program, but then when you all went out and got the medical school, and then you added the 2 extra years to the medical school, now I'm like, okay, they're bringing that Bloomington feel here. What exactly do you all advertise? What's IUN?
So IUN is a regional campus. We're comprehensive in the fact that we have a liberal arts degree.
Yeah.
I think what you're explaining is that niche.
Yes.
Like, what is our niche? And our niche is the liberal arts education, along with education. The School of Education does a phenomenal job in the state, in this region. And we have a lot of teachers that have gone through our programs.
Yes.
And so we're also working with our Dean of Education, Dean Sperling. He's working to educate educators so they can get their credentials to teach and not be on permanent licenses.
Yeah.
And so we're doing that this year.
Yeah.
We're also, we're a school that we specialize in the health fields, correct. Nursing is one of our largest schools.
Right.
But we also have health information management, health information technology. So those programs students don't know about because they think that, oh, I want to be a doctor.
Right.
So I've got to, you know, I want to be a medical, so I got to be a doctor or a nurse.
Right.
And don't understand that there are radiography programs and things like that. So our school is mostly focused on the liberal arts, business, education, and health field.
Yeah, because I remember when I was younger, you know, Indiana University, and you all are doing a great job. I want to ask you about your chancellor, who I had the opportunity to work with maybe about a year ago when I had my TEDx Gary event over on the campus at the university, and he was one of our speakers. Well, he helped introduce it. But I remember when I was coming up, Indiana University, it was kind of like, once again, I want to do the analogy a little bit to the Career Center, but you know, you had your dental school over there, and then they had that dental place where you could actually go get your teeth fixed and worked on right across the street, and in a nursing program where you can kind of go get these little free exams or these very low cost exams if you were trying to get your young scholar into school and he or she needed his shots. Have you all kind of talked about more community interaction and things of that nature going forward? I know you had to kind of pull back on some programs because you all were restructuring. But do you see that coming back to the community?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So the nursing program is still there, obviously. The dental program that you talked about, we still offer those services.
Nice.
Yes. And we are in the middle of our strategic plan.
Yeah.
So our strategic plan will take us for the next 5 years, and I have the privilege of being on one of the task force, co-chairing one of the task force, and we are definitely talking about bringing back some of those programs that we did have before on campus, summer bridge programs, all of those that can let students come more on campus and interact with our faculty and be in the labs, and not just the labs of science labs, but they could be in the labs with the psychologists as well. And so we're looking to do all of those programs, and we're excited about it. In talking about our chancellor, we've been under great leadership previously.
You really were.
And so I think this leadership is different in the way that it's more community organized, right? And so we're coming out more into the community and making sure that people feel welcome and understand that our campus is available to students and for families and community events. We have to go through the proper channels, don't get me wrong, but we're here. And we want people to know, and we want students to know that they can come on campus and have this type of experience right in their own backyard.
Now, let me ask you, because you know, the university, Indiana University Northwest, is in a very unique position where, as you were talking about community, and as I said, I had the opportunity to have a number of words with your chancellor, who is a very cool dude, by the way. I like him.
Yes.
And also, I worked with the Little Calumet River Basin Authority. And one of the things during, when we were out there kind of doing some stuff, is I noticed that some of their territory kind of comes in contact with you all. And then I saw the horticulture school, or one of you all's instructors that were out there, and there's this mutually shared area that is being cultivated, also used for education and things like that. So, if you can talk to us about the things maybe that you have talked about doing or that you are doing now, in which you see the community intersect with the university. Because to me, when I was out there on that walk and things like that, I got a good understanding of that. I got an opportunity to see that the university is a partner with certain entities around here. The Little Kai didn't really know about that relationship at first, but then I got to see it. And then I got to see how private citizens who are not students, who are just residents of Northwest Indiana, get to enjoy some of the benefits of both of that relationship.
Correct. So we have a center, it's called CURE,
Yeah.
and they work with the community a lot. And their work with the community is to sit on boards,
Right.
organizations to help with research.
Mhm.
A lot of businesses or entities will come by and ask us to do studies
Yeah.
on economics is one of them.
Yeah.
And so we've done things like that for the community. We've also worked with, we have the senior university, as you probably know that already.
Yeah.
And so that allows community members to come on campus and get some college type courses geared towards seniors.
Yeah,
right?
see,
Some
no,
of
no,
those
talk
learning-
more about that, because I've heard about it, but I don't know why I didn't associate that. Oh, wow, this is for seniors.
Right,
Yeah, I don't
yes.
know. I thought it was, I told you before 10:30, I'm not that bright.
No,
I
no,
thought it
no,
might
no,
be
no,
just
no,
for a
no.
high school senior.
No, and you know what, and that's a good point, but the senior university will have programs where seniors can come and learn about Social Security.
Yeah.
We also have a program where they can do computers,
Mhm.
they learn computer skills
Yeah.
up there. And there's a lot of different aspects, like music, if they want to do
Yeah.
something fun and cultural, they have that ability to do that in the senior university. I also want to say that our dental school, go back to that for a little bit.
Yes.
Our dental school has a dental camp.
Yeah.
And that has been going on for students who are in high school. If they can get the experience of
Right.
working in the dental field in that camp for a week. And so we also have a STEM program.
Yeah.
The STEM program is available for students. We have I think juniors and seniors. They don't have to be committed to IU
Right,
Northwest,
right.
but they can come for the summer and go through the STEM program for a week. And so we have those types of programs available.
Now,
We
how
also
do scholars find out about that? You know, because I don't have any children, but how do you find out about that?
Right. So one of the ways we do press releases
Yeah.
about it. We have it on our website, and then a lot of times we send the information. We being the Office of Admissions, we'll
Yes.
send the information directly to the students' homes.
Yeah.
To let them know that these programs are available.
Are there opportunities? Okay, let's take Gary Community Schools, a wonderful, this district to kind of maybe get this into the schools there and work in some program. I remember when we were in high school once again, and it wasn't back when the Flintstones were around, but it was, it was fairly recent. And when we were in school, I took AP English, and I'm trying to think the other one, and that's something that went directly into Roosevelt. And of course, we went over to the university, but that's how I learned about it basically, because that was being offered through Roosevelt, and my counselor suggested that I be a part of that.
Mhm.
Do you all still do things like that?
We still do.
Nice, see?
Yeah, we still do. And so one of the things, something that IU Bloomington is initiating is a position called the Indiana College Core Coordinator.
Yeah.
And so what that is doing is working with high school students to earn 30 credit hours of college credit in high school.
Yes.
And then they can apply that towards an IU degree, we would hope, or they can go to another institution with those 30 credit hours. And we're making that commitment on helping students take either dual credit
Right.
at the high school or on campus,
Yeah.
either or, and how they can develop their 30 credit hours. And I think that is a powerful statement by Indiana University to put resources by helping young people get college credit before they even leave high school.
No, I think, and it does appear that there is trending more towards that. I mean, I would hear stories maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, where there'd be one student who had done this, or I know one young lady who was in Gary who ended up getting her bachelorette before she finished, and now she ended up teaching, and it was in education. And so, but you're starting to see more districts and more programs like this being offered, because it is getting competitive. And this is what parents are searching for, some way to kind of, if they can, get those higher education credits while you can get them for free pretty much, or not free, but without obviously going to college, and that seems to be the trend. So you see more of that coming.
I see more of that coming. And we have to realize that what happens with that is that we'll have more students graduate.
Yeah.
And that is the end goal.
Yeah.
That is the end goal. So if you have students that start out in high school with 30 credit hours, they feel good, they feel supported, they feel like they understand they're excellent scholars, then they will continue on once they get to those universities and graduate.
Yeah.
And that's what we need.
Now, Dr. Frink, let me ask you this. We kind of alluded to it earlier, and when you were talking when I was asking you kind of the niche in which IUN is, and you brought up liberal arts, but then you talked about education and teachers, and I remember, full disclosure, I used to do a show with Dr. Peggy Hinckley, who was like the predecessor to Dr. Page, and one of the things that she used to really hammer home to me when we just talked on the phone or whatever was about her goal was to make sure that you reached out and create some kind of program for teachers to get trained, and then she would immediately hire them. That was her. I mean, she had she was aggressive about it. But that's one of the things that she wanted, and it kind of coincided with the larger narrative that the state of Indiana was putting out, and that was there was a teacher shortage. There was, I mean, people were just not going into the profession on the university level for a lot of different reasons. I'm sure you see and you hear about it. Do you all talk about that? Are you all aggressively targeting that discipline? Are you kind of part of the solution to get more teachers? I know I'm putting a lot of pressure on you, but we need your help, Dr.
No,
Frink.
I'm smiling because we are. I'm smiling because we are. And again, our Dean Sperling is doing a phenomenal job in getting out into the communities in Hammond and the Gary schools.
Yeah.
And we've got some others on that we're talking to in regards to helping their teachers who are not licensed be licensed because they're on emergency permits.
Right.
And so we're moving them forward for that. And so this past fall, he had, let's say, 30 so plus students who had gone through the program at our institution. So we will start to see soon teachers more qualified. I understand they're not now, but just more qualified and credentialed to be in that space.
And that's kind of something that you all are aggressively doing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Because the education of our young people is important. What they're educated, how they're educated is just important to their future, right? Because this is the bedrock of them being successful in college.
Now, you are a graduate of Roosevelt. Thank you very much.
Yes.
And so that means that you definitely have an investment in this community. You grew up here. You understand what's going on. And so now in your capacity at IUN, as you look at the enrollment, and I know I've read some numbers a while ago, is that, we see enrollment in college is kind of on the decline a little bit. And even when I was in college, I mean, they used it to suck me into college, but the ratio of men to women, I mean, I think when I went to Hampton, they kept advertising, it was like 10 to 1. And so that sounds good when you're a pubescent boy and you're thinking about going to college. But, when you kind of look at the sociological aspects of it, it's not necessarily a good thing. We want to get everybody opportunities to get educated. But as you sit and you look at a wonderful university like IUN, and it sits right in Gary, do you all, I mean, sometimes do you feel like there should be more of an effort, or what is being done to make sure that the students here that are living in the community take advantage of all the wonderful resources that are there? I mean, you've got a wonderful library. I used to use it in high school. I know there are some challenges out in the city, but there is a beautiful, well-equipped library right there on 35th Avenue. I don't know about summer programs that you might offer to high school and maybe even middle-aged students that can possibly learn about science and math in some of your wonderful labs and get some of that tech experience. Are you all out here having conversations like that?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
And let me talk about our some of our community work too with the 21st Century Scholars
Please.
Program. And so this is the 21st Century Scholar Program that the state supports,
Yes.
right? And we work with Fred Jackson here in Northwest Indiana to help students understand that they have this education, this to paid for. It's
Yeah.
like $40,000 when students and parents sign up. And so what our team has done is we've posted nights on campus,
Mhm.
nights or weekends on campus for parents to come and sign up their son or daughters for the 21st Century Scholar
Right.
Program and then take them through the Scholar Track program.
Yeah.
So we've done programs like that during the summer or even during the week.
Yes.
And so there are numerous programs that we offer through to the community to help them. For example, we've done College Planning Day,
Yeah.
and students will come and learn about the SAT in general, like what does the SAT mean and how important that was and is to their education.
Right.
So we do a lot of community programming, not saying that this is where you want to go, but at least we're here for you as a resource.
Right.
Yes, students can come and use the library, but what we want to do is bring them onto campus and actually teach them
Yeah.
about college planning,
Yeah.
and what college planning is, and how important it can be. The conversation we're having a lot now is the value of an education.
Yes.
Because what we're finding when you talked about enrollment just a minute ago. Yes, enrollment did decline nationally.
Yeah, it did.
For regional campuses and community
Mhm.
colleges, Ivy Leagues, Big Ten campuses still seem to keep their enrollments up. But for the regional campuses and community colleges, what we found was students were driven to do work.
Yeah.
And not really even go into a work where they're like an electrician or a plumber or anything
Vocational.
like that. A vocational one. They were just going general work.
Right.
And so what we are trying to tell young people now and get out, and our faculty are involved in this. And
Yeah.
I think I've been in higher ed for over 25 years, and at IU Northwest is the first time I've ever worked so closely with academic affairs
Yeah.
and faculty. And so what they're doing with us is helping students understand the value of an education. That education helps you to think, that helps you to be a critical thinker.
Mhm.
That education will also help you provide a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right? And not just a big fancy car, but just to live comfortably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And so that's what we're doing for our community.
Yeah.
We just recently received a $10,000 grant through the Indiana Gear Up program to host 200 juniors from Westside High School.
Mhm.
And so they'll be there actually this Friday with a college prep program. And we're excited about that we're hosting
Wow.
the program. And then we'll have another 200 of their students, Westside students, on campus March 4th.
Yeah.
Just to do College Planning Day. And so those are the kinds of things that we're working with the community to bring students on campus, so the 21st Century Scholars, the Gear Up
Yeah.
programs. And we're working with all those that we can reach in the time frame that we can do it right and with our human capacity.
Now let me ask you this, Dr. Frink, because you stated you had 25 years in higher education, and so I've got to pick your brain. I have to.
Okay.
We're having a conversation about a national trend that looks like it's happening, and both my parents were college educated. I knew I was going to college before I knew I was going to college. It just was the thing to do, and that's not. And so what we're hearing or seeing now, it appears, as you were talking about, is that there is a new narrative. We see it from the state. Our governor has 2 pathways to get your high school diploma, where you can either get vocation, because one of the things you're starting to see states like Indiana is we want to build a workforce. That's what they say.
Right.
But you are seeing people go a more vocational route or a more practical route. How does higher education, as you said, compete with that when there's a narrative out here about the student loan debt, the value of college degrees nowadays, because I've got classmates who had some very ambitious majors and have some very practical, they're doing good, they're raising their families, but it's not their major. This is not what they were majoring in. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Exactly. There were a lot of majors in college. You're like, why are you majoring that?
Yeah,
right. Or do you know somebody who has a museum of Western civilization? What are you doing? But you're starting to hear that conversation become a little louder now, and it is being promoted by a lot, obviously some online schools, a lot of these vocational things. And so how does higher education, which is getting this kind of reputation, or it's not a reputation, this perception that, well, you know, the colleges will always be there. They're overcharging for these degrees and things like that. Why not just go get some on-the-job experience, or go get a CDL license, or go vocational training and things like that, and you'll be just as happy without the debt.
Right. So that is a big conversation, and we're taking it bit by bit with our community. So one of the things that we offer for our students is the ability to take a career service interest test as through Vita Navas.
Yeah.
And what we're doing is showing students, based on what you like or don't like, these are the careers or fields that you may be interested in. And then we take that and we share with them what kind of career or education do you need to get that career. And then we tell them how much money you'll make from that career.
Right.
And so then we work backwards with, also our financial aid office will come in and share with students, okay, this is how much it costs to go to college. And then when you apply for your grants or your loans, this is how much it's actually going to cost you to go. And so we're doing this comparative conversation with our students on how much does it cost to go to this school, how much does it cost to go to that school, how much does it cost not to go to school.
Right.
And so we're hoping that in these conversations and just being really honest that this is about them and not about us, that then they'll see, okay, that I have people here who will help me make this decision.
Now, let me tell you the situation, because I'm glad to hear you say that, because it's kind of unique, even though you know, and I'm going to bring Purdue Northwest up too, and an example that I've seen, even though both of you all are affiliated with, you know, legendary name brands in the state of Indiana, really in the world, you all also have this unique opportunity. For instance, it wasn't until I kind of came back home from where I lived and started to, you know, intermingle with some of my old classmates, meet people who I kind of grew up, meet people that I knew before and I didn't really know, that I didn't really appreciate or understand just how many people in this region take advantage of you all's campuses. I met a man a couple of months ago. I was at a Purdue Northwest Innovators program. My wife was getting inducted into it, and one of the guys that was in her class was just he kept telling me, he's like, I'm a regular Joe, but I took advantage of Purdue Northwest. And I think about the people that have gone to IUN, the people that teach there at IUN. How do you get the word out? Because you all have an opportunity to be the front lines where people don't have to go and worry about, going to this university setting. They don't have to get out of their comfort zone. They can simply take advantage of the wonderful resource. And I've been in your campus a lot of times. That's why I keep talking about your facilities. They're absolutely amazing. How do you kind of wake people up and say, listen, come on over here. Come on and use our stuff?
By going out. But honestly, we are going out to bring them in.
Yeah.
So we're hosting a lot of events. And one of the pieces I told you about was the February the 11th with the Gear Up program and March 4th.
Right.
But we're also having the Price to Progress play.
Yeah. There you go, once again.
Right. And so we are hosting high school students, about 200 high school students on campus for that play, which is on February 18th.
Yeah.
And then it's open to the community to come out. Programs like that bring students in communities to the campus. Right. And so that's how they'll start to get socialized as to who we are. Right. And so once they see these facilities, they start meeting the wonderful staff and welcoming staff on campus. Then they go, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What else do you have to offer? And so we're always talking about ourselves in a way where we're here for the community.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think once we start more of that, as we incorporate more of that into our messaging, then more students will start to come out and see that we're there.
Now, I know we're talking with Dr. Dorothy Frink of Indiana University Northwest. I know one of the things that has always kind of been debated, we don't have to get into that about dormitories and things like that. What I want to ask you is, as the czar of admissions and enrollment, if you can kind of share what the demographics look like for out-of-state students, because I've always wondered that. If you're out of state, you're going to hear about Bloomington, you're going to hear about West Lafayette, and even Ball State and Muncie, and all these universities that are kind of self-contained in quote college towns. But how do the satellites operate? How do regional campuses, how do you go out here and not only market, you want to let the community, as I was just asking you, like Gary, Northwest Indiana, know about it, but you know, you're an ambitious university. You want to get other folks over on your campus too. Diversity is the spice of life. How do you go out here, and what percentage of demographic are kind of out of state and not from here?
Not from here. It would be small because we are a non-residential campus.
Yeah.
That housing, not having housing, does limit us as to students coming to campus,
Right.
Because they wouldn't have a place to stay. So we have like 3% of our students will come from Illinois or Michigan or some other state.
Yeah.
And most times because their parents live here,
Yeah.
or they have family here and they're coming back. And so they may get coded as a non-residential student. But we're really focused on our students in Northwest Indiana.
Right.
And the Chicagoland area.
Yeah.
Those are our niches. I will say too, for our demographics, that we 3 years ago we became a Hispanic serving institution.
Yeah.
So we have that designation. We're a minority serving institution.
Yeah.
And so one of the experiences that I say that students that will attend our campus, regardless of their ethnicity or race, is that they will be amongst 46% of our demographics is minority.
Now, you were just kind of talking about going and there, I was asking you about your kind of your range and how far you go, and you kind of brought out Chicago, and you go into Chicagoland, and that makes sense. And so I want to ask you, I know we're kind of short on time,
Okay.
but I want to ask you, how do you all, what's your narrative? How do you go over? I mean, you got the DePauls, the Loyolas, obviously University of Chicago. I mean,
Right.
There's so many universities in Chicago proper that are there, in addition, as I said, to the ones that you normally compete with. So what's the narrative when you go? Because I know you got a speech. I know you're ready. You're tight.
Right. We talk about cost.
Yes. Oh, there we go.
We
That's
talk
gonna get
about
my ear.
cost because at IU Northwest we offer a Midwest student exchange
Yeah,
rate.
yeah.
So students will pay 150% of the tuition as opposed to 200%,
Yeah.
right? And so what we found in doing our research is that actually it's less to attend Northwest,
Yeah.
IU Northwest, than it is a school in
Illinois. Yeah.
Yes, we're very competitive in that. And so students can receive a top 10 degree, right?
Absolutely.
And so that's what our niche is over there. We talk about that.
We're talking with Dr. Dorothy Frink, and once again, what's your title again? I don't want to butcher it. You
That's
burned
okay.
it.
No, Associate Vice Chancellor for Enrollment Management.
Associate Vice Chancellor for Enrollment. I'll just say.
Okay, Enrollment Management.
Enrollment Management. You were telling me before we started that there were some events that are going on in February. If you can, go ahead and give us those events.
Sure. So we talked about the Price of Progress play that's coming up on February 18th, and then we have the 19th. We have a couple of shows, but on the 18th at 10 o'clock, we are asking schools to come out and participate, bring their students, bring buses to participate. We have 250 seats available for those students. And then we have an event I mentioned earlier that we were a Hispanic serving institution, and so on February 22nd, we will have an event for Spanish-speaking families.
Yeah.
They can come out and learn about the college admission process in Spanish, and if they want to, in English.
Yes.
We have that. And then I'm so excited about February 25th that we will be hosting the Steel City Black Knowledge Bowl.
Absolutely.
And so excited about that. Looking forward to coming back and telling you more.
Yes, you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll save that for them, but I am really excited about that program.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. That's all I hear about. That and the Price of Progress.
Yes.
So you got two great events that are coming, and yeah, absolutely. I'd love you to just come back regularly whenever you're doing things, because I think your presence and the way you articulate things, I think you really get parents' ears open, and like I said, just meeting you now and talking to you, it's definitely a very pleasant person to find out about enrollment opportunities for your scholar. So I definitely would love you to come back on a regular basis. So yes, absolutely, you're welcome here. I enjoyed this, Dr. Frink.
Thank you. I enjoyed it too, and I didn't realize you knew as much as you did about IU Northwest.
Oh, I'm keeping an eye on you all. I know what goes on over there. I just play like I don't. All right, everybody. With that being said, we're going to get ready to take a break. When we come back in a bit, I'll get your last look at weather and traffic. You're listening to Wake Up GI with Jeffrey Smith right here on